Welcome to Brian's Table, a food, wellness, and lifestyle channel. I'm Brian Singh. Today, we're going to be making rice and peas. Sounds a little bland, doesn't it? But stick around, you'll be surprised. Rice and peas is a staple side dish for many Caribbean meals. It's also a multitasker. I love it with Vietnamese and Thai curries. In Trinidad and Tobago, where I'm from, rice and peas can be found in one of the national dishes, pilau, where it is mixed with meat and other veggies, and it is served as a main meal. The recipe for rice and peas I'm using today is based on a Jamaican recipe, and it can be found in the Frugal Gourmets on our Immigrant Ancestors cookbook. Jeff Smith, while long gone and a controversial figure, he spent a lot of time with immigrant families in the U.S. back in the 70s and 80s, and compiled a host of recipes that are very authentic, and he did translate them in a form that is appropriate to go and pick up most of these ingredients in your supermarket. I like it because it's a really good flat platform to work from and to modify. I like to go online and look at other recipes, specifically recipes that come from chefs and cooks from the country of origin that serve as an inspiration for me to modify the recipe for a version that works for me. As they say in the Facebook comment section, do your research. This is also a handy dish to get more legumes, i.e. beans, into your diet. Let's start with the ingredients. First off, simple long grain rice. Next up, red beans. Yes, I know the recipe is called rice and peas, but in the Caribbean, almost every bean is referred to as peas. Also have green onion, which in the Caribbean they refer to as scallion. In this recipe, I'm going to be using a combination of jalapeno and bird's eye chilies. Typically, this recipe would call for habanero peppers, but because we're trying to work with ingredients that are readily available in your supermarket, we're going to use a combination of jalapenos and my favorite bird's eye dried chilies. That would approximate quite well for habanero flavor. Then we use coconut milk, fresh thyme, garlic, and a bit of salt and pepper. I've rinsed 1 cup of kidney beans, and I'm going to put them in 4 cups of cold water in a pot here. I like to use a slightly larger pot because I find that when I'm cooking the rice, it steams better and it keeps the grains separated better. We're going to bring that to boil, turn it off, and let it sit for 1 hour. Great, it's come to boil. Let's turn it off. Let's sit for 1 hour. Let's get the ingredients ready for the next stage of the rice and peas. First, we're going to get the thyme ready. I like to tie my thyme with a bit of butcher's twine. I don't have that here today, but jute string will work just as well. Make sure you rinse and wash it before you use it. This is about 2 tablespoons of fresh thyme, which is roughly equivalent to 2 teaspoons of dry thyme. 4 green onions. 3 cloves of garlic. Off with the ends. These items are going to be removed from the final dish, so simple rough chop would do quite well. half a jalapeno, de-seeded, cut into strips. And again, boys and girls, do not touch your sensitive areas after you've cut chilies. 2 bird's eye chilies. And the last item, coconut milk. Here's a pro tip for you. To make sure you get your coconut milk coming out in a consistent stream, just vigorously shake it beforehand. There you go. Let's hope we're up. After about an hour, your beans should look like this. This preliminary stage of cooking does a wonderful job of reducing the gassiness of the beans. Which reminds me, I had a band in university called Flatulence. Look in the link below. Return the beans to the pot. Add all of the ingredients you just chopped up and prepared. Add 1 cup of water. And coconut milk. See how that trick worked? One other pro tip. Add a little bit of water. A little extra liquid is okay because you're going to drain this liquid and use it in the next stage of cooking. Let's bring this up to a simmer and cook it for about half an hour until the beans are just tender. Let's get the last step of this dish prepared. It's called rice and peas, but we haven't put any rice in it yet. I like a standard long grain variety, easy to pick up at your supermarket, and we need 2 cups. So you don't need to clean it. This is typically a polished rice, thus you don't need to wash it. Let's add the final seasonings in with the rice. So we could just dump them in. You're going to need 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Again, I like using sea salt. And pro tip, they're 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon, so I just have a half tablespoon measure here. Perfect. After about half an hour, this is what you should have. The beans should be just tender, and we're ready to drain this, but we need to reserve the liquid. Let's get this out. Let's return the beans to the pot. Always use liquid so it doesn't drain. Add your rice, salt, and pepper. And now add 4 cups of liquid. There may not be 4 cups here in the reserve liquid, but we're going to add more water to come up to 4 cups. 1. While I can add water, I do have some leftover chicken stock. This is going to add a lot more flavor to this already delicious dish. So let's use this to round up to the 4 cups that we need. That's 3. Perfectly 4. Let's turn it up to high, bring it up to a boil, and once we've done that, we're going to turn it all the way down to low, and in about 15 minutes, it'll be done. The rice is coming to boil. We're going to turn it all the way down to low, put the lid on, and wait for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. If you noticed, we used a ratio of 2 cups of liquid to every cup of rice. Typically, you'd use 1.5 cups of liquid to rice, but because the beans still have to cook, they're going to absorb a bit of that liquid too. So you use the full 2-to-1 ratio for this dish. Oh yeah. Yep, that's what it looks like at the end here. Let's give it a taste. Let's get a bit of beans and rice. Very good. Let's give it a try, Trent. What do you think?
Oh, wow.
All the flavors are there, aren't they?
It's delicious.
Great.
Oh, benefits of being a friend of Brian's. Behind the camera.
And hanging out at Brian's table, right?
That's right, hanging out at Brian's table.
Excellent. There you have it. Rice and peas. Really, rice and red beans. I'm going to enjoy this with jig chicken, so look at that video up here and down below. And I'm also going to keep some back, and I'm going to enjoy that with Vietnamese curry sometime. Question: what is your favorite rice side dish? Thanks for watching, and if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button and please subscribe. And in the meantime, keep maximizing life's small pleasures. While filming this, Trent said he thinks that rice and beans is a complete protein. And I said, I'm not sure. So we hit Google. This is what Google produced. Together, rice and beans contains all 9 essential amino acids to form a complete source of protein. Wow, I never knew that. And now you know too. I have a pet peeve. This. Gluten-free. Rice was always gluten-free. Marketers and brand managers, stop this. Thank you.